This is Land of Havilah, Job 27. Job continues speaking, verse 1. Job again took up his parable and said, As God lives, who has taken away my right, the Almighty, who has made my soul bitter, for the length of my life is still in me, and the Spirit of God is in my nostrils. Surely my lips shall not speak unrighteousness, neither shall my tongue utter deceit. Far be it from me that I should justify you. Until I die, I will not put away my integrity from me. I hold fast to my righteousness and will not let it go. My heart shall not reproach me so long as I live. Comment in verses 1 to 6, Job says, God has taken away my right. Also translated, God has denied me justice. Job claims he's righteous, but is that still the case since he says God's been unjust to him? Job goes on to say, He's made my soul bitter, but regardless, while I'm still living and breathing, I will not speak unrighteously or deceitfully. Far be it from me that I should agree with you that I'm unrighteous. Until I die, I won't admit that. I'll cling to my righteousness so that my heart doesn't condemn me as long as I live. As far as God denying Job justice or denying him his rights, that can't be the case because righteousness and justice are the foundation of God's throne. Psalm 89:14 and 97:2. And as far as God making Job's soul bitter, Job should probably take responsibility for his own bitterness. The Apostle Paul rebuked a man for being, quote, in the gall of bitterness and in the bondage of iniquity, Acts 8:23. And Paul said, let all bitterness be put away from you, Acts 4:31. So if we're bitter, we did it to ourselves. Job should assume that God will redeem his suffering and make it worth it because, quote, He's the rewarder of those who seek Him, Hebrews 11:6. Jesus didn't say our experience on earth will be trouble-free. He said, great is your reward in heaven, Matthew 5:12. And He said the Father, quote, will reward you openly, Matthew 6:4. And He said, behold, I come quickly, my reward is with me, Revelation 22:12. So the reward's not necessarily here. It'll be with Him when He comes. So all those statements lead us to believe that reward isn't complete until later. Our sufferings make sense as viewed from the other side. Our reward will be precisely connected to the faith we held in the midst of our suffering, our refusal to count God unrighteous, and our refusal to be bitter. Job goes on, verse 27. Let my enemy be as the wicked. Let him who rises up against me be as the unrighteous. For what is the hope of the godless when he's cut off, when God takes away his life? Will God hear his cry when trouble comes on him? Will he delight himself in the Almighty and call on God at all times? Comment to answer Job's questions in verses 8 and 9, God's patience does have a limit. When the wicked continue in wickedness, He will cut them off at some point so that when trouble comes, He'll ignore their cry. Psalm 18:41, Psalm 128, Isaiah 1:15, Jeremiah 14:12, and Micah 3:4. Job says, verse 11, I'll teach you about the hand of God. I'll not conceal that which is with the Almighty. Behold, all of you have seen it yourselves. Why then have you become altogether vain? This is the portion of the wicked man with God, the heritage of oppressors which they receive from the Almighty. Comment, he says, this is what God will do for the wicked, verse 14. If his children are multiplied, it is for the sword. His offspring shall not be satisfied with bread. Those who remain of him shall be buried in death. His widows shall make no lamentation. Though he heap up silver as the dust and prepare clothing as the clay, he may prepare it, but the just shall put it on, and the innocent shall divide the silver. He builds his house as the moth, as a booth which the watchman makes. Comment, Job says the wicked man's house will last about as long as that of a moth. His house is about as durable as a watchman's shelter that he cobbled together for just one night. Verse 19. He lies down rich, but he shall not do so again. He opens his eyes, and he is not. Terrors overtake him like waters. A storm steals him away in the night. The east wind carries him away, and he departs. It sweeps him out of his place, for it hurls at him and does not spare, as he flees away from his hand. Men shall clap their hands at him and shall hiss him out of his place. Comment, in an earlier chapter, Job made the argument that oftentimes the wicked man prospers, and his children go on in prosperity after him. there being no obvious connection between wickedness and ruin of a man and his household. Now he admits there's something to it, that if the wicked prosper at all, their prosperity is fleeting. They can expect ruin at any moment on themselves and on their households. Job 28 is next.